The speaker is a 38-year-old Korean man, let's call him Ji-hoon, who met a frightening event in his school when he was in his 4th grade.
When I was in elementary school, I went to a small school in Jeolla province. It was one of those countryside schools with only a few classrooms and a single main building. We didn't even have a gym, just a dirt field and an old bell we rang for lunch. The school had 3 floors, but we were only ever allowed on the first 2. The 3rd floor was off limits. There was even a faded red sign on the stairwell that said Gongsajung, under construction. But as far as I could tell, no one had worked on it in years. My friends and I used to joke that ghosts lived up there, but it didn't feel like a joke. Then, in 4th grade, something strange happened. One morning, our teacher told us that the school had opened a new class, 4-3. That was weird, because there were only ever 2 classes per grade. But the teacher said the school was growing and needed more room. Here's the thing though, none of us ever saw that class. The students of 4-3 never came out during recess. They never ate in the cafeteria. They never joined morning assembly. But every morning, there were footprints in the hallway dust going up to the 3rd floor. And every afternoon, we'd hear desks scraping and chairs moving from above. I started getting curious. So, one day after school, I stayed behind and snuck up to the 3rd floor. When I got to the top of the stairs, I saw something that still makes my skin crawl. There was a classroom, room 3-1. The lights were on. I heard a teacher speaking inside, very slowly, like reading a passage aloud. I crept closer and looked through the small square window on the door. The students, they weren't right. They were sitting perfectly still. No one blinked. No one turned a page. Their uniforms were outdated, like they were from the 70s. One boy had a huge stitched-up scar across his scalp. A girl's mouth was too wide, like it had been torn at the corners. And all of them were staring directly at me. I didn't even have time to scream. The door creaked open by itself, and the teacher inside, an old man with no eyes, just skin over the sockets, turned his head toward me and said, "We've been waiting for you, Ji-hoon." I ran. I flew down the stairs. I didn't stop until I got home. I tried to tell my mom, but she said I must have dreamed it. When I went back to school the next day, the stairwell to the 3rd floor was boarded up, as if it had never been open at all. No one mentioned class 4-3 again. When I asked my friends about it, they looked at me blankly and said, "There's only 4-1 and 4-2. There's never been a 4-3. But I remember, I saw them. I saw my name written on one of the desks. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear the sound of chairs scraping from somewhere above me, even when I'm not near a school, like they're still waiting, like they never stopped.